Good morning, everybody. Panel chair, panelists on the dais, and delegates. I am very pleased to be here today during Odisha Vikash Conclave 2016. And I also am very thankful to the panelists who made good presentations about the governance and fiscal management related issues. I would make a little very short comments as we are already running late. As the bureaucrats as part of the government, as Mr. C.K. Matthew said, that they have devised a public affairs index which basically comprises of outcomes and processes. And we, on one side, are in the business of managing the processes. It was very heartening that processes are being considered to be very important because outcomes basically depend on the processes. And then there was a presentation by my colleague, Mr. Gopalan, who actually is working to ensure that these processes are re-engineered in such a manner that maybe at certain point of time later on, these processes may not even be required at all. The basic point which I would like to highlight here is that the government has to concentrate not only on outcomes but also ensure that the processes being followed are so efficient that the resources available are used very, very efficiently. And therefore, there is not only a need to increase the resources available, but also efficient use of the resources is very important. Now, looking at the present situation, presently, particularly in this particular year, if we look at the resources, the revenue generation is not up to the mark. The expenditure is very, very progressing much higher. In fact, some of the panelists did say that the expenditure on social sector is higher if you look at the total kitty of resources that is available to the state of Odisha. So, if our expenditure is very high, and if we are not able to generate that much resources, then we have to think very, very critically as to how we will increase the total GSDP of the state. There are only two ways GSDP can be increased. The investment has to either come from the government or from the private sector. So there are limits in the private sector because it also gets affected with the international environment, national environment, and we are seeing the commodity cycle is actually impacting us a lot. So that being the case, government has adopted a very cautious approach of borrowing in last 2 years. And this borrowing is helping us to keep the social sector spending at a higher level so that the results will be available to all of us. While we are doing this thing on the side of resources and utilization of the same to manage the situation, we are also concentrating very hard now on the government processes. And thereby I would like to share with you that we have a very good opportunity to utilize the technologies available with us. IT particularly is becoming very important. I would give an example. For example, Odisha has a very, very good computerized treasury management system. As Mr. Nayak did mention, that we have a lot of transparent availability of how the funds are being managed. Similarly, we also have come up with a human resource management system, which is working simultaneously within the government. These systems, which are being developed over a period of time, will ensure that the governance of the state will also become efficient. Once the governance is efficiently managed, then your processes will become efficient and the utilization of the resources will improve. My hope is that the processes will lead to the good outcomes. I am very happy to be here once again, and since the time is very short, I have enjoyed the talk given by Professor Sen, and I'll take the input shared by the panelists here, particularly about the transparency and the accountability in budget making. You would be aware that last year we had a stakeholder conference, stakeholder consultations while making the budget. This year we intend to ensure that our budget making becomes much more participative, and would request all the civil society actors to participate in that exercise. Thank you very much.